Missourians react to a new state report about who police are most likely to pull over. Good evening, I'm Brittany Pieper.
And I'm Jim Rake. Thanks for joining us. The Attorney General's office released a report yesterday showing police disproportionately stop black drivers when compared to the population. KOMU's LaShawn Guo found an organization that strongly criticizes the numbers and wants to do something about it.
Several local and statewide organizations believe the best way to end what they say is bias-based policing in Missouri is through passage of the Fair and Impartial Policing Act. The Attorney General of Missouri released a report that shows black drivers were 69% more likely to be pulled over by police officers than white drivers.
The report documents convincingly that African Americans in particular are stopped disproportionately. But there's a lot of questions still given that broad conclusion.
Love says a coalition of organizations will take the complete data set and look for an indication of what the problem is.
And almost always in law enforcement there are other factors. There are things that could be happening that are difficult to account for as you try to pinpoint exactly what's responsible for the disproportion.
A local driver believes there needs to be some dialogue to dig more and understand the problem.
There's so much going on in the world today, and obviously we are getting smaller in terms of how interdependent we are with each other, so we definitely need to come together and have those conversations and be honest about what our fears are.
But he also says being honest and listening to others are also the hardest parts. Both men say if there's a biased policing, people will lose confidence in police.
They need that respect, they need that trust from the population, otherwise they don't get the information they need to find the real bad people out there. People won't report crime because they don't trust the officers to respond correctly.
Yesterday, we talked to Columbia Police about the report. A public information officer said the raw number do not show the full story, and in Columbia specifically, there's not a profiling problem.
Several police departments are working together tonight to investigate the death of a Fulton man. A Johnson County deputy found the body on the side of a road near the Dunksburg Bridge. According to the Rural Major Case Squad, the man was shot and killed yesterday morning. Warrensburg Police Chief Rich Lockhart spoke about the importance of sharing information.
We have 42 investigators and support staff that are full-time devoting their efforts to it during that critical first 48 hours and beyond if necessary. Once that, it's usually about a week or so that they tie everything up.
Lockhart asks anyone with information on the murder to call the Rural Major Case Squad. Here's the number, 660-238-0902. A car chase this afternoon in Jefferson City led to an injury, a school on lockdown, and officers arresting a familiar face. Police chased 19-year-old Charles Thompson after finding out the vehicle he was driving was stolen out of St. Louis County. Officers say they tried to pull him over. Instead, Thompson sped up to the intersection of East McCarty Street and Eastland Drive, where he hit a Volkswagen. That driver was taken to the hospital. Lewis and Clark Middle School, just minutes away, went on lockdown. Investigators say Thompson ran into the woods where he was caught.
And we've got an innocent person that's struck in a number of felonies that have been committed. So here we are again.
Police say Thompson is supposed to be sentenced for burglary later this month. Thompson now faces several more charges for today's run-in with the law.
A former St. Louis police officer charged with murder is now free on bond. The St. Louis Police Officers Association paid Jason Stockley's $1 million bond. He's charged in the 2011 fatal shooting of Anthony Smith. Prosecutors say the officer can be heard telling his partner during a car chase that he plans to kill Smith.
He surrendered his passport today, even though the court didn't order him to surrender his passport. And then if he's such a danger to the community, for God's sakes, why did this circuit attorney turn him loose on the community for the last 4.5 years?
Stockley will be monitored and will have to maintain certain conditions to remain out on bond.
For the first time ever, the Columbia Police Department hosted the Missouri Association of Crisis Negotiators Challenge today.
It was quite clear among the 9 teams participating the value of the lessons learned will extend beyond today's event. KOMU 8's Meg Hilling shows us what this challenge offers to those who work in crisis negotiation.
I think that would be beneficial. Good.
Tensions are high. The man won't come out of the house. The Columbia PD officers eye each other. What now? While the situation unfolding in the basement of the Crossing Church is a mock scenario, the seriousness of the matter is quite real. Given crisis situations are often unexpected, training for such scenarios is hard to come by. No one knows this better than the training director of the Missouri Association, Deborah McMahon.
You can go to plenty of standoffs, but to practice a standoff is a pretty unique, circumstance.
For 4 years now, the annual challenge has offered departments in Missouri and surrounding states exactly that, a chance to practice. Judged on factors such as building rapport, listening, and mitigating the threat, the teams work to negotiate a staged crisis, score well, and hone their craft. Because while the challenge ends at the end of the day, the experience carries on with the teams to the next situation, Lieutenant Eric Hughes says.
The people that we are dealing with are real people with real issues, and we have to find a way to resolve those and to dig in there and figure out how can we safely get this person out of here.
Meg Hilling, KOMU 8 News, Columbia.
The top 3 teams will be recognized by the state of Missouri, and the winning team will go on to a national competition. Today is National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Moms demand action. Remember, those who have fallen victim to gun violence with a picnic at Flat Branch Park. The group Moms Demand Action said it believes in what they call gun sense, common sense regulation around guns. Recently, Missouri gun laws changed, including expanding the Stand Your Ground law and allowing anyone to open carry who can legally own a gun. These laws leave people feeling differently about those changes.
Anyone who can buy a gun can carry it in public without any kind of training or permit. And that's very disturbing because it puts all of us at risk.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the expansion of gun rights is a wonderful thing in Missouri. I think it is, again, incumbent upon the gun owners to be responsible about that.
Metro and Wayland agree training about firearms, safe storage of guns, and stricter law enforcement could help decrease gun violence.
A nice day to visit the park, especially if you found some shade. Let's send it over to Sydney for a check of the forecast.
Thanks, Jim. Temperatures are starting to cool down a little bit. We're in the 60s and 70s across mid-Missouri currently. 71 in Columbia, 67 in Boonville, 69 up in Moberly and in Macon. Here's a look at your satellite radar right now. Not a whole lot going on for us. We are pretty clear. We have a few clouds passing by off to our south. We're going to continue to cool down tonight with the low right around 60 degrees for us, average for this time of year. Winds will be light out of the northeast. But coming up in just a little bit, we'll take a look at your next chance for rain in your 8-day forecast.
KOMU is working on a new town square, and we're asking the question, what do you want to know? So this is your chance to tell us what we should cover. Take our survey on our website, KOMU.com, and your question or suggestion could end up as our next town square, so stay tuned.
Coming up, the GOP's highest ranking member makes a decision on the bandwagon or not.
Absolutely. A lot of our growth came from that move to the SEC.
And after the break, Target 8 investigates MU Athletic Department spending and where the money comes from. It's a national trend. Major universities spending more and more on recruiting and athletic facilities. Tonight, we take a look at Mizzou.
The Target 8 investigative team looked at MU athletic expenses, in particular the cost of recruiting. KOMU 8's Nick Commissar is here with the financial records and MU reaction.
I acquired the MU Athletic Department's financial reports from the years 2004 and 2014 to see how much changed over a 10-year period. I found that, as you might expect, spending by the athletic department has increased. So I looked into whether this trend is expected to continue, especially in light of MU's budget deficit heading into next year. Financial records show Mizzou spent nearly $500,000 more on recruiting in 2014 compared to 2004. Also, the total operating expenses increased by more than $40 million. When asked if spending on recruiting will continue to go up, head football coach Barry Odom says successful recruiting is more about building relationships.
I don't know that it would, that necessarily increases, the spending of it. But I think as year to year goes by, the prices of things go up.
The university recently announced a large drop in freshman enrollment for next year, resulting in a hiring freeze and a multi-million-dollar budget shortfall. However, Associate Athletic Director Tim Hickman says the university's budget and the athletics department budget are not the same.
So the majority of our revenue comes from sources that, that we have, such as conference revenue or ticket sales or contributions to our department, things like that too.
But Hickman was sure to add,
so there's not so much as a direct correlation. However, when the institution's struggling, that everybody in the community struggles, including us, and so it impacts us all.
One aspect of Mizzou's financial records that is different from other universities is student fees. Hickman says MU chose to cut out student fees to the athletic department, opting instead to charge for student tickets, so it is a choice of students whether or not to contribute. If you look at total expenses broken down by teams, you can see football, men and women's basketball, as well as softball have all increased spending. Football expenses has more than tripled. Men's basketball have gone up about 85%, women's basketball about 87%, and softball has also more than doubled. Hickman says the move to the SEC is part of the reason for that. The move brings in a lot more revenue, which allows for an increase in spending. If you'd like to pick through the athletic department's financial records, go to KOMU.com.
Coming up, Hillary Clinton goes on the offensive. Hear why she thinks Donald Trump's election would be a historic mistake.
And 2 air shows went bad today in different parts of the country. One pilot did not make it.
You can count on.
The First Alert Weather Cam is brought to you by your Heart of Missouri Chevy dealers.
Here taking a look at our time lapse over Columbia Regional Airport today. Had plenty of sunshine out there. High temperatures reached the lower 80s for us. It was a pleasant, beautiful day. It looks like the airport was a little busy this afternoon. Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for tuning in at KOMU 8 News. At 10, we're going to continue to be clear throughout our evening and overnight hours. We're going to have increasing cloud cover throughout the day on your Friday. We do have some rain chances back into the forecast for us. But here's a look at our current satellite and radar right now. Not a whole lot going on for us. We do have a little bit of cloud cover off to our south. The rest of the viewing area is pretty clear right now. That front that was in place off to our south with that rain is what kept that rain from moving on up into our area today. But temperatures right now are pretty comfortable in the 60s and 70s out there. 71 in Columbia, 70 over in Jefferson City. Mexico checking in at 69 degrees along with Moberly. And here's a look at the current winds right now. Pretty calm across mid-Missouri, right around 6 miles per hour. And that's going to be the case throughout the rest of our evening and our overnight hours. It's going to be a very calm and comfortable night across mid-Missouri with a low right around 60 degrees for us, average for the beginning of June. Winds will be light out of the northeast and continue to die down throughout the overnight hours for us. It will be a starry night across mid-Missouri. But here's a look at our precipcast to break down the rest of the evening and your Friday for you. This is right around 11 p.m. tonight. Those clouds are going to continue to move on out of the area. Temperatures are going to cool down into the 60s for us throughout our overnight hours. And here's a look right around 2:30 a.m. Those clouds are going to continue to move on out of the way. So we will be clear throughout the rest of the night, and temperatures will continue to drop for us in the lower 60s and some of us in the upper 50s by the early morning hours on Friday. And as you're waking up on your Friday morning tomorrow, you can see a little bit of cloud cover starting to move on up into the area. I think a good portion of us will be sunny throughout the morning hours, so we'll start off mostly sunny tomorrow. Then clouds will continue to build on in by your lunchtime hour tomorrow. This is right at noon. You can see those clouds moving on through. A little bit of spotty shower activity starting to show up for areas down to our south and our southwest, and that's going to continue into tomorrow afternoon. I think precipcast is blowing this up a little bit too much right now. I think we will have maybe a few spot showers, but I don't think it will be this widespread by the afternoon. But this is mainly going to be for areas off to our south and our southwest. Have that chance for maybe a spot shower or two throughout the afternoon hours. I don't think that will move on up into the northern or middle viewing area for us. So I think otherwise we'll be partly sunny by your Friday afternoon. But tomorrow we're going to be warm again with high temperatures reaching reaching the lower 80s for us. We'll continue to have those clouds moving on through into our afternoon hours, but good news is we will start the day off with some sunshine. Have that chance for a spot shower, but like I said, that's a very small chance right now for areas mainly to the south and the southwest. I think most of us will stay dry on your Friday, which is definitely good news if you have plans for the weekend. Winds will be light out of the southeast tomorrow, right around 5 to 8 miles per hour. And here's a look at our sun sense. We're going to be on the high side tomorrow, right around 9, which is close to the high side. The scale goes 1 to 11, so definitely don't want to forget the sunscreen and sunglasses tomorrow. Even if we are expecting a little bit of cloud cover, the UV rays are still strong out there, so definitely don't want to forget the sunscreen and sunglasses. And as always, that's brought to you by Despain KC Dermatology Center and Medical Spa. But here's a recap of this weekend. Like I said, tomorrow we're going to reach the lower 80s for us. Plenty of sunshine throughout the morning. Clouds will gradually increase throughout the day with a slight chance for a spot shower. Then on your Saturday, temperatures are going to stay warm in the lower 80s, which is right around average for the beginning of June for us. We do have a slight chance for a spot shower on your Saturday. We'll be partly sunny throughout the day. Could have a spot shower or thunderstorm, but I think we will have plenty of dry time throughout your Saturday. Sunday, though, is going to be a little cooler with high temperatures in the upper 70s for us. But after Saturday, we do have plenty of dry time in store for this upcoming week. There's a slight chance for some rain on Thursday and Friday, but temperatures are going to stay warm in the 80s.
Should be a nice weekend. Sydney, thank you very much.
After the break, we take a look at 2 U.S. military jets that crashed today in different parts of the country.
Plus, House Speaker Paul Ryan makes a decision on Donald Trump. That's coming up.
But first, here's a look at your lottery numbers. Here's what's happening right now. A missing boy in northern Japan has been found safe and unharmed following a massive 6-day search. The news was just released about an hour ago. The 7-year-old boy had been missing since Saturday after his parents left him alone for 5 minutes in a forest as a punishment. Military personnel on a training mission discovered the boy Friday morning, local time.
The pilot is dead after a Blue Angels jet crashed in Tennessee today. It is believed to be the pilot. The Blue Angels were practicing for this weekend's air show when the jet went down. Naval investigators arrived. The Blue Angels were to perform for the Great Tennessee Air Show. A U.S. Air Force jet crashed today after a flyover during the Air Force Academy's graduation in Colorado Springs. The pilot, identified as Major Alex Turner, safely ejected before the crash. The commander of the Thunderbird squadron says the Air Force is investigating along with the FAA.
House Speaker Paul Ryan, who has withheld his support until now, says he will vote for Donald Trump. In a column in his hometown paper, Ryan endorsed Trump, but only by saying Trump would be a better ally to advance conservative policy goals than Hillary Clinton. He writes that he came to the decision after several conversations with Trump. But Hillary Clinton criticized Trump's ability to lead America abroad during a foreign policy speech in California today. Clinton says Trump's ideas are, quote, dangerously incoherent. She mocked Trump's claims about his knowledge of global affairs and says he should never have access to the nuclear launch codes.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
Hello, everyone. The Jefferson City Jays will play for a Class 5 state baseball championship tomorrow afternoon. The Jays today rallied to win their semifinal contest against Lindbergh. Jefferson City in its first state semifinal appearance since 1992. Jays pitcher Jacob Wyrick with a 0.97 earned run average this season, but Lindbergh's Caleb Newberry hits a 2-run homer off him in the first. The Flyers scored 4 in the first inning at a 4-0 lead, but Jefferson City responded. Gavin Strobel doubles to the wall. That drives home 2 to cut the lead to 2 runs, 4-2 after the first inning. In the third, Grant Wood puts a charge into 1, and that ball is gone goodbye. It's a tie game, 4-4. The Jays took the lead with a sacrifice fly, and then Cade Franks gets a 2-run single, and that signals the beginning of the end for Lindbergh. 7 unanswered runs for the Jays. They had the lead after 5 innings. Wyrick rebounded from that tough first inning to go the distance, striking out 10. Jefferson City moves on to the Class 5 state title game against Francis Howell with a 7-4 win thanks to a big performance from Jacob Wyrick.
They just wanted me to command the strike zone and let my defense make plays. I was leaving it up in the zone, and they were able to drive it. But after that, I was able to bring it down and go away from the inside, and they weren't able to drive it as well.
There really wasn't a whole lot to be said other than we still have 7 innings of hitting to do. So, once we tied it up, we felt pretty confident that we were going to be able to get in that bullpen and, do a little bit more damage.
The Royals just completed a perfect 6-0 homestand, sweeping the White Sox and Rays. Tonight they started a 10-game road trip. First stop, Cleveland, to play the Indians. Carlos Carrasco started for the Tribe. He was 4-0 with a 1.55 ERA against KC last season. Royals, they'll get to him in the third. Drew Butera bangs a home run to left, and the Royals had a 2-1 lead. Butera filling in for Salvador Perez, who enjoyed that homer from the dugout. Then another Royal fill-in, Chesler Cuthbert homers to left. The Royal replacements doing their thing, 4-2 in favor of KC. On to the 9th inning now. It's 4-3. Indians with a runner at third. Just one out. Francisco Lindor lines it to right, and Paulo Orlando, not the best decision there. Tries to make a diving catch. Instead, it goes by him. Runner scores easily from third. Would have even with a catch, but Lindor goes all the way to third with only one out. So the game's tied at 4, and then a chance for Mike Napoli, the slugger, to win it for the Tribe. He lifts a high fly ball to left field. Gerard Dyson will make the catch, but Lindor tags up from third, and he scores, and the Indians win with 2 in the 9th, 5-4. They're within a game and a half of the Royals. The Women's College World Series is underway in Oklahoma City. The Missouri Tigers fell 2 games short. Michigan eliminated Mizzou from the NCAA tournament last weekend, but 4 SEC teams make up half the tourney field in Oklahoma City. Among those teams, SEC tournament champion Auburn, and Auburn had its offense going today with the lead over UCLA when the Bruins threatened. Gabrielle Maurice launches one deep to left, but look at the catch there, just shy of the wall, and nothing doing for the Bruins. Meanwhile, Auburn's offensive onslaught continued. Casey Cooper drives a double to left to send home 2 runs. Auburn reaches double figures, winning 10-3 over UCLA. And Auburn would get the winner of today's other game between Georgia and Florida State. Georgia, of course, from the SEC. Georgia with the lead. And then Tina Yosofa drives it a run to make it 4-2 Bulldogs. But in the 6th, back comes Florida State. Alex Powers lives up to her name with a 2-run homer to tie things at 4. But folks, Florida State made 7 errors. A World Series record, a dubious one at that. When you make 7 errors, you're most likely not going to win a ball game. They didn't. Florida State very generous today. Georgia saying thank you very much. And Georgia will play Auburn in an all-SEC winners bracket matchup tomorrow night. And that's sports.
Gators are causing a ruckus in Alabama. A local gaming official responded to 2 alligator sightings across a county Wednesday afternoon. The alligators were both about 10 feet long, considered very dangerous. Gaming officials say the alligator spottings are pretty common this time of the year. Here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News today. The Better Business Bureau warns about travel scams in the upcoming summer vacation months.
And an MU committee clarified the university's policies on freedom of speech. Join us tomorrow morning for student and faculty reaction. Sydney.
We'll be mostly clear tonight with a low right around 60 degrees average for this time of year. Winds will be light as well. We'll start your Friday off with a little bit of sunshine, then clouds will increase throughout the day. We have a slight chance for a spot shower. I do think most of us will stay dry. Another slight chance for rain on your Saturday, but temperatures are going to stay warm, and we do have plenty of dry time next week.
How many points does Steph Curry have tonight, Chris?
At last check, neither he nor Klay Thompson were in double figures, but Golden State was up by 17 with about 5 minutes to go.
So they're doing all right.
They're doing okay. They're the world champs to begin with.
On air, online,